Welcome back. Apologies for the technical difficulties. The game decided to crash on me for whatever reason, but I'm back in now. There's no change at the moment in terms of the standings in this qualifying session for round 6 of the second division in the competitive teams championship. Each team is represented by an individual league, hence why you may see some gamer tags with the leagues on gamer tag. And Yossi, who's just started the flying lap, is coming up towards his teammate. I don't think Yossi is on a fast lap thinking of it, so he'll back out of it there. This is Fashion Gold, P7 at the moment for the GTZ squad in the Alfa Romeo. And his 400s up from before by Sector 2. And Rushington decided to drop back into the pit lane. He clearly felt that the lap he was on wasn't going to be quick enough to move him up the order, perhaps saves him going round. So this is Dirk. So both BRT drivers in the Red Bulls have yet to post lap times. That was until Max BBGs has just posted the 4th quickest. Now Dirk, who, remember, he's one of the reserve drivers for tonight. He's looking to get himself up the order with the lap he is on. Now, they did race in Jeddah last week. The team that came out on top of it were the Victus Racing team. And Dirk goes over the line to go P2. Less than 2/10 away from provisional pole. Encouraging signs. And now we've got Luno and Spreen yet to get fast times on the board. Likewise for King and Mobrak. I don't know if we'll have a formation lap. The drivers may not need it. I think the reason why they won't need it is to help avoid any glitches during the course of it that may cause the race to be delayed. Luno is coming around in the McLaren, and this time of his is good enough for P7, so he's ahead of his teammate by half a second. As Yossi goes to the top in the Alpine with a 1 at 22.6. That's a good effort there from the Alpine driver. He'll be looking to build on that going forward in the final minutes of the session. Delopad has gone to P2 now, so Francisco, who is on a lap as we speak. Is he conserving energy? Yeah, I think he's actually conserving energy, so he's just done his lap to put himself up to P3. Yoan down to 4th place then. We'll go back to Spreen, who is coming towards the end of the current lap he's on, which should see pretty much go on terms with his teammate. He's part of the World Online Racing League is Spreen, and that lap of his is only good enough for 18th. Lost time somewhere. Mobrak is one of 2 drivers now yet to get a time on the board. What can he come up with for the Races 1 squad as he comes down? Or the team as one, I should say, not the Racers 1. I don't know why I keep thinking Racers 1 and thinking of Formula 1's campaign of Racers 1, but this is the team as one squad. As Mobrak looks to make his way through and get up the order. His teammate Yoan is currently in P4. And he's heading over the line now, and this should be good enough for P2, in fact. So Mobrak does manage to push his Ferrari up there, and he's a tenth away from the pole sitter. King has just started a fast lap now. Who else is on fastest? Well, Diogo Silva is just going over the line to P7. So that's a good effort from him. I think Spreen may be coming into the pits at the end of the lap he's on. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's heading straight for the pit lane. So we'll go to the Williams next, I believe, or F event. He's gone into the pit lane as well. So we'll go back to King, who is on a lap. He's coming up behind the Ferrari of Mobrak. King's the last driver to get a time posted. So this is the last part of the circuit, the Hotel Bridge that King will be going under. .2 kilometres this Yas Marina circuit. King going over the line, and he cracks the top 10. Very, very good lap time. It's a very competitive field, I have to say, even if there's reserve drivers in there who are doing their best to put their names out there within the league racing community. It's a very, I don't want to say it's a niche market, but it's definitely a very competitive one, like it has been for the last few years. We're seeing more drivers get involved in various different leagues to help them improve as drivers. It does take a lot of hours of practice every day, pretty much, to get to where you want to be. Well, Francesco is not on the fast lap yet. He will be starting his last lap shortly. Well, we've got one of the Aston Martins out on the circuit now. That is Daddlepad. Francesco will be on his way around to start his final attempt. There are cars coming out of the pit lane as we speak, so he's going to be very much up against it. One driver, Quasar, is the only driver on a set of mediums. I'm trying to see if we can just get rid of the tyre compound there. We'll stick with this graphic for now, as Francesco looks to improve in Sector 1, and he has done. 700s up. And he's got the Alpine there who's going to give him a tow, I think. And his teammate Yossi who's going to give him the tow he needs. And Rodas has parked up at the end of the pit lane. So that's his qualifying session done. 11th or higher, 11th or lower is where he'll finish this session. Francesco coming down the back straight past the support pit lane. And he's a 10.5 up by Sector 2. He looks to be on course to get himself onto provisional pole with over a minute to go. Has he maybe gone too soon, I wonder, in terms of either track position or the track conditions as they are picking up? He's coming towards the last turn now, turn 16, and this lap of his is good enough to move on to provisional pole. That's a great effort. So Francesco on to provisional pole for JR. And Yossi, who's just coming around to start his last attempt now, I believe. We are seeing more drivers heading over the line, but I can't tell whether they actually are on fast laps or whether they're just completing it. Well, Mobrak is third at the moment. He's just starting his last attempt. We'll go to the Alfa Romeo of Daddlepad because I think he's the next driver to complete his lap. The check flag is going to be coming out shortly, so we've got 10 seconds to go. So drivers on just coming around to complete their outlaps to start their final attempts, and they do so with 5 seconds to spare. Daddlepad for the JSP squad coming over the line now. Is this going to be a 1:22.5? It is! And Daddlepad has snatched pole position away from Francesco at the moment. The AlphaTauri of Spreen is coming through now. It's a much more competitive time, but only good enough for P20. We've got the two Red Bulls now of Dirk and Max. The VRT squad, Dirk only goes P6. He did improve on that time, but it's not enough to move up the order. Max had his time invalidated, so he ends up only 8, but it could be even lower than that. And Yossi is on to pole now. So JR are back on pole, but it's Yossi who's up there. Mobrak, what can he do? Only P3, so Francesco down to P4. We've got Diogo Silva for the WOR team in the AlphaTauri. He's got the Alfa Romeo in front. That'll be Fashion Gold, who's also coming towards the end of his last attempt. Fashion Gold going over the line. P11 it is. Diogo Silva invalidated towards the end of the lap. That lap time wouldn't have moved him up the order. He will line up 7th place on the grid. But it's Yossi who ends qualifying on pole position. JR on top. Very nicely done. And I will mention that the point system in the competitive teams championship is different to what it is in real life Formula 1. In the meantime, this is your qualifying order. Yossi on pole had a demo pad with Mobrak and Francesco in 3rd and 4th. Johan and Dirk line up on the 3rd row next to each other with Diogo Silva and Max G next. Luno and Ty Brenner out the top 10 at a Fashion Gold and King. Rodas and Jerem make up 13th and 14th. Jeslar and Chakal are on row 8. Eppenvet and Chris are on row 9. At the back, we've got Quasar and Spring. So that is qualifying over. We've got the race coming up next. So hopefully we're going to be in some for some quality action during the course of this evening. And you can see we're into the sort of dusk time here in Abu Dhabi. And we are less than half a minute to go before the race begins. I would guess that the race is going to start right now as it is. They'll probably just skip the formation lap. So we're 5 seconds away from the start of this one. And here we go for the start of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in the CTC. It's lights out and away we go. How do they get off the line? Well, Yossi's got off very well. What about the Ferrari of Mobrak? He's got ahead of Delopad as they go through turn 1. So Yossi leads ahead of Mobrak. It's Delopad ahead of the second JR driver of Francesco. Johan is 5th ahead of Dirk, who's got ahead of Diogo Silva. Then it's Max and Geest with tied and Fashion Red out the top 10 as they come out of turn 4. Yossi in front then, ahead of Mobrak. Then it's Delopad and Francesco. Dirk is past Johan, so Johan's shot back. And we've had a spinner. It's one of the Hasses. That's Johan, part of the XRT. And there's a Williams and an Alfa Romeo in there. That is Eppenvet and Rodas. So Rodas, after he crashed out in qualifying, has got it all to do in the race already. And now we can see the field filtering their way through. Dirk tossing it out with Francesco for 4th position, but to no avail. That might give the Ferrari of Johan an opportunity to get back through as they head towards turn 9 to fast sweeping left-hander. And now they all go through. And most of the field are on the hard sides. The only driver that's not is Eppenvet, and he's on the mediums. So we are expecting a one-stop strategy during the course of this race. As the field are filtering their way through the final sector before they complete the first lap of the race. And it's Yossi in the lead then by less than a second. No DRS for the first 2 laps, so that's going to give Yossi an opportunity to pull away from the rest of the field. So it's Mobrek in second place, it's Delopad, Francesco, Dirk, Johan, GC stops to 7th place, and Diogo Silva before the end of that lap. And it's Tide and Fashion Gold. And look at the positions gained since the race had started. The biggest jumpers are Jesler, Chris and Quasar. Up 4 positions. The biggest loser is Rodas, who's down 5 positions from 13th to 18th, and Jaren from 14th to 19th. So as the field come round, and we've seen a move there that looks like Type, who's making a move on Diogo Silva for 8th position, and he's got through. That was a very neat overtake, and Diogo Silva will have to filter in behind. There's no DRS yet, of course. The AlphaTauri is looking to bounce back, but Type has the upper hand for now. Now, should the field behave themselves, we are not expecting any safety cars, so I'd expect this race to be over in a flash, really. As the field head through underneath the hotel bridge. I've got the point system in front of me now. Well, the fact that Yossi got pole, he's managed to get a point to his name, as has JR. So JR have got a point in the standings. It's 15 points for pole, it's 12 for second, and it's 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 down to 10th place. And the driver with the fastest lap gets a point, but they must finish inside the top 10 in order to get it. DRS is now enabled, by the way, so we'll start to see some oversight. And we've got a spin. Tybe is off at turn 4. He was running in 8th position, but he's fallen to the back with Jaren for company. So that's a bad error there for the BNL driver. And he's left himself with too much to do already. As the field go through turn number 6 and 7. And we'll go on board with Mobrak as he lines up for a move on the JR driver of Yossi as they come towards turn 9. Which way is he going to go? He's going to go to the outside, late on the brake. That's too late. That might open the box for Double-Pad to sweep through, but Mobrak has more than enough of the margin to stay in front. So Yossi stays in front for the time being. We've got 2 JR cars, or 2 JR drivers in the top 4. It's the Red Bull of Dirk, Johan and Max. Diogo Silva, Jesler and Fashion Gold are keeping them honest. Diogo Silva's already 2.5 seconds behind the top 7 already, so he's leaving himself exposed to DRS to the drivers behind, so he's got some work to do to catch up to the leaders. We've got Chris running wide there as we've got the Haas of King make his way into the pit lane, and that's why he's got damage to the left side of his front wing. So I would imagine he'll probably go into a set of mediums for the next stint. And maybe a set of the soft tyres for the last stint, because there's no way he'll get to the end of the race on a set of mediums for 26 laps. This is lap 4 of the race. Mobrek continues to use his DRS, but he's not close enough to have a go on the Alpine just yet. As they go through the kink there, and it looks like King has crashed out, unfortunately, or he's retired on track. And we've got the safety car deployed. So I'm not sure how King has lost it there, but that's the first retirement of the race. It's very early stages, really, for making a pit stop, although we could well see a change of strategies, because King started on the hard tyres. He switched over to a set of mediums, but then he's dropped it as he was exiting the pit lane, unfortunately. So that's his race over. That's one of the XRT drivers out of the race. Drivers must adhere to the Delta, otherwise a drive-through penalty will be dished out, of which they cannot take under the safety car. So if you're one of those at the front or at the mid-pack of the field, then you may decide not to do it. But if you're one of those at the back, you may decide to go on a different strategy. Oh, that was a VSC. So that was actually a virtual safety car. My apologies. So the race carries on as it is. Thankfully, we've not been needing a virtual safety car. The full safety car, I should say. The race is back underway. We're on lap 5. And we're about to see a potential change in position as Mobrak has got himself alongside Yossi as they approach turn 6. And it looks like the Ferrari is in front before they even get there. And so Mobrak takes the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in Division 2 in the CTC. And what will Yossi have in response to that? Yossi's not... Mobrak isn't going to have the DRS on this occasion. And Yossi looks to the outside. The two make contact though. That's not going to do the car any damage. I just hope there's not too much harm done to the front wing on the Alpine. As the field make their way through turn 13 and 14. Dadopad will be fancying his chances in this one. Won't want to go aggressive too soon, too early, because the thing is, if he starts battling with someone, he'll lose ground to the drivers ahead. And he'll allow those behind to close in more. So this is lap 6. And Jesler is in 8th place. He's got ahead of Diogo Silva. Now they come round towards the hairpin of turn 5. Mobrak staying in front for the time being. Yossi will be having a look to get back through. He's not using as much ERS, but he may not need that as he looks for a pass. He sits behind the Ferrari for now. So they go through turns 6 and 7. He just needs a good exit out of 7 to get within the slipstream, DRS open, and make the overtake. He's heading to the outside now. Mobrak later on the brakes and stays in front. Do make sure you like and subscribe in case you haven't already done so. The CTC looking to go from strength to strength. I think they started around about a year ago. Got 2 divisions on the PlayStation side of it, and they've also got a PC championship to go with that as well. Well, Mobrak is heading over the line in the race lead as we speak for the team as one squad. 2 Ferraris in 1st and 6th. It's the virtual racing team who are the leading team overall in the standings.